Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Asake, a man from Nigeria trying to take over the world,
How does a person go from being a completely unknown artist to dominating the Afrobeat world within just 1 year? Well, if you told me this was possible like last 2 years, I would probably have said it's a lie. That was until I was introduced to this guy named Asake. Now, if you have not heard of Asake before, well, I don't even think that is possible. Like, he's literally on everyone's playlist at this point. But if you have not heard of him, he has been one of the most streamed Afrobeat artists for the past 2 years now. And he's the guy people are saying will soon be on par with the big three very soon. Yeah, crazy. He's that good. So today, I want to tell you his story. Cause you see, the funny thing is that although Asake is a household name now, just a few years back, Asake was a poor, jobless youth wasting away in the slums of Lagos Island. Many people don't know that this guy called Asake barely saw himself through university. In fact, he was so broke that after he graduated from university, he literally had nowhere else to go apart from the apartment he stayed in while he was still in school. And this was someone whose nickname was Mr. Money. Given the circumstances the guy found himself in, it was even a miracle how he funded his music career. Like, did you know that Asake burnt himself out working menial jobs here and there just to make sure he had enough money to first feed himself and then use a big chunk of the money to pay for music production and distribution of the songs he was making at the time? All that hustle and bustle just to make sure he kept his music career alive. But you see, the one thing that really skyrocketed his career wasn't all this hustle and bustling and working menial jobs that he was doing. No, it wasn't even the fact that he had huge talent in music. No, it wasn't that. What really skyrocketed his career was when he made friends and surrounded himself with like-minded hustlers just like him. Now let me explain. You see, Asake's story teaches a very big lesson to all upcoming artists and entrepreneurs that on the journey to success, there is no man that is an island and there is no such thing as a self-made individual. Like, for example, in Asake's case, when I was researching into the guy's life, I found out that he might not have ever been recognized by the music industry in Nigeria if not for one of his like-minded friends named Yemoli, who introduced him to the man that changed everything for him. You see, although Asake was talented and was working extra hard to make sure that his music career succeeded, Yemoli pushed for Asake where his hard work and talent couldn't reach. He struggled and moved heaven and earth to make sure that he introduced Asake to the man that skyrocketed his career, and that man was none other than Olamide. And the story of how Yemoli wriggled his way and made sure that Olamide heard Asake is a very interesting one. In fact, the story of Asake has so many interesting moments just like this, where all of a sudden something just happened in Asake's life that just looks like magic. But don't worry, in this video, I'm going to be explaining in details Asake's rise to stardom. So join me. But first, let's look at his childhood. There are many things you might enjoy learning from Asake's childhood. Before Asake became Mr. Money with the Vibe, he was Mr. Nobody from the slums of Lagos Island. He was born on the 13th of January 1995 as Ahmed Ololade, the son of Mr. and Mrs. Ololade. His dad was a businessman and his mom was a teacher. And given the condition at the time, they were not rich in any regards, but they were happy. Growing up, his parents would play a lot of classical music in his house, which majorly consisted of Fuji music. Now, Fuji music is a genre of music that is synonymous with the indigenous Yoruba tribe of Nigeria. The sound and rhythm of this type of music is what will play a major role in shaping his current style of music that we hear today. But he didn't know that. Back then, all he knew was that music was a constant part of his life. But it was nothing serious. To be honest, the real thing that actually sparked his interest at the time was actually dancing. Yes, like he would actually fantasize becoming a world-renowned dancer like Michael Jackson all day long. This made him practice dancing passionately, and eventually he became a really good dancer. Later on, when he got to secondary school, he would participate in many dancing competitions and join several dance clubs. Going for all these competitions and being in all these clubs made him realize that he wasn't the only Michael Jackson loving talented dancer out there. There were others just like him, so he had a bit of a competition. And so he thought to himself, how can I make my dancing more unique? That's when he came up with the brilliant idea of mixing in singing while he danced. That way he could become a more interesting talent. And it worked. Every time when he participated in any dancing function, he would dance as well as sing as a bonus, and his classmates loved it. One day, one of his cultural dance clubs needed a female dancer to perform for a show. All of their past female candidates made it clear that they weren't turning up, and they were running out of time to find a new female dancer. So guess what happened? He, Ahmed Ololade, graciously volunteered to be their female dancer for the occasion. Now you might be wondering, how the hell is that even possible? He isn't a girl, and in no way does he even look like one self. I mean, look at him. That's as man as you can look. Yeah, but you have to understand, he was really good at dance. In fact, he was so good at dancing that he could perform both male and female dances with maximum precision. All they had to do was to sell the idea that he was a girl on stage. So they dressed him up a little bit and told him to pick a female stage name for the occasion to really sell the whole thing. This was when he chose the name Asake, the name we know him name for today. Now, for those who didn't know, Asake is usually a name given to females in the Yoruba culture of Nigeria. And the reason he chose that name was because it was his mom's name and he loved his mom very much. After that day, the name Asake stuck with him like glue. His classmates who saw the whole thing as one big joke couldn't stop calling him Asake. And with time himself, he began liking the name because it made him feel more connected with his mom. So from there on, anytime he wanted to perform in any function, whether it was dancing or singing, he would use the stage name Asake. Years went by as he continued performing both singing and dancing at different school functions. And with time, he began to like the singing self more than the dancing. And in 2010, towards the end of his secondary school, he decided to pursue becoming a musician instead of becoming a dancer as a career path. Now, after secondary school, Asake had limited resources to attend university. If we are being honest, it was even a miracle that he was able to finish secondary school in the first place, given the background he came from. But that wasn't his business. Resources or not, he knew he wanted to attend a prestigious university. He wanted to become a musician. And even if technically he didn't need a university degree for that, being in a university environment could provide him with opportunities and the needed connections that could potentially push his career. I mean, you never know, He couldn't miss that opportunity now. So he spent months looking for a way to get into the university environment. Nothing was off the table. He thought long and hard, asking all the necessary questions, pulling in all the little connections he had. And luckily for him, by around 2012, something eventually turned up. Or should I say it, someone. You see, Asake was friends with an upcoming Nollywood actor at the time named Lala. And conveniently for Asake, Lala was studying dramatic arts at Obafemi Awolowo University, one of the most prestigious universities in Nigeria. Exactly what Asake was looking for. So he convinced Lala to take him back with him when next he was going back to school. So now he could squat with him over there. He had no plan to gain admission into the university. He had no clue what he would be doing when he got there. All he knew was that he needed to get into such a university environment if he ever wanted to grow as an artist. And after listening to Ashake's ply, Lala agreed and took him back with him when he was going back to school for the next session. So began the tales of Asake the schoolboy. Now, while in school, Asake kept himself busy by following Lala to attend his dramatic arts classes and also working some menial jobs around the school. His goal was simple. He wanted to raise enough money to be officially admitted into the university and fund his schooling there. And he wanted to make friends with like-minded hustlers like himself. Luckily for him, both of these things came to pass. Just a few months after he came to the university, he became friends with 5 fellow hustlers who shared a similar dream and mindset like himself. Yeah, you might know some of these guys. They included Blackbones, Yemoli, Fireboy DML, Chinko, and Superboy Check. This was before these guys became famous. And while in school, these 5 guys, including Asake, were inseparable. They lived together, hustled together, and shut down the school together. Now, the usual. During this same period, Asake was able to save up and secure an admission into dramatic arts at Obafemi Awolowo University, just like Lala. And by 2015, Asake began his music career proper. In the beginning, Asake was not in a rush to release songs. Initially, what he planned doing was learning how music was made in the first place. From the beat design in Fruity Loops to the mixing by the engineers and to the mastering of the finished work. So he spent a lot of his time in his earlier days around studios, observing and sometimes working as a backup singer for other artists. This helped him gain a lot of knowledge on how to make unique sounds and also helped him build some much needed connections as an upcoming artist. Meanwhile, his gang them were not just sitting around either. They were also putting in some serious efforts too. Blackbones, who wanted to be a rapper, was there winning rapping competitions left and right. Yemoli was there hosting departmental parties and making serious bank from students. Fireboy was still lighting matches. Chinko, one talented Yoruba rapper like that, already got signed to YBNL in year 2. And Superboy Check was still learning how to sing Zuzuzu. They were a force to be reckoned with, and the world was at their fingertips. Fast forward to 2016 and they were graduating with flying colors, massive dreams to shut down the entertainment industry, and almost little or no money to their name. Like literally, all of them were brokies. Yes, Asake and his 5 friends were talented artists, but they were also starving artists too. After graduation, all of the 5 friends decided to relocate back to their homes so that they could settle down and plan their next move in life. That's except for Asake. Like, Asake was the worst amongst them all. His own is that he had nothing. He was empty. It's as if all the money he saved was just for it to be used in school, and after graduation he was just finished. And Asake also hated the idea of going back to his home, which was in Lagos Island, because in Yemoli's words, that place was a literal dustbin that you shouldn't even be aspiring to go back to. Asake basically escaped that life when he followed Allah to Obafemi Awolowo, so it would have been unwise for him to just go back empty-handed. So his plan B was to follow his closest friend Yemoli to wherever he himself was going. Where Yemoli moves, Asake moves. Where Yemoli stays, Asake stays. That kind of levels. As for Yemoli, he decided to move to Lagos after school because he heard of tales of how Lagos was the happening place and it would be good for him to, stay around that environment to see whether he can grab one or two. So the day Yemoli was about to travel out of school, Asake and Superboy Check joined him in the bus he boarded. Now here's the funny part of the story. When they left OAU, their school, none of them knew what they were gonna do when they got to wherever they were going. The guy Yemoli himself was even clueless, the person they are following. The only trick he had up his sleeves was one of his friends who was a big boy, so to say, in Lagos, who he planned to beg to squat with when he arrived. So Yemoli, while still in the bus, put the guy on call and told him that he was coming over to spend a few months with him in his house with the remaining 500k the guy saved up while in school, praying that the guy would agree. And after the call, the guy agreed. I was even telling him, encouraging him, be coming, because it's like they were very close. So when Yemoli got this assurance and his mind was okay, he opted not to tell both Asake and Superboy Check, because that his Lagos friend was basically doing the most by even allowing him personally to squat. And he knew if Asake and Superboy Check heard this, they might even want to join the guy and squat too, and it might annoy the guy and spoil the whole thing. So he kept it to himself and quietly told the driver where to drop him when they reached Lagos. Now when they got to Bega in Lagos, the place where Yemoli told the driver to stop, all of them got off the bus and looked at each other. Yemoli asked Superboy Check where he was going. Superboy checked he was going to Ondo State. Immediately Yemoli and Asake busted out laughing at the guy, because you see, the distance between Ondo State and Obafemi Awolowo University is very small compared to the distance between Obafemi Awolowo University and Lagos. So why did the guy join them in the bus to Lagos when he was going to Ondo State? What it meant was that Check basically just wasted his whole time following them. When everybody realized what has happened and he himself realized he had made a mistake, he quickly boarded the next bus back to Ondo State from there, leaving only Asake and Yemoli left standing at the bus stop. So immediately Superboy Check left, Yemoli immediately boned face and now looked at Asake and he now asked him, let him be going Kwana, so him too will be going his own way. Asake was like, ha! He thought him too knew that like his own plan was to follow him and go wherever he was going to. Now he have realized that Yemoli was not carrying that one in his mind. He himself was confused and lost. So now he begged Yemoli to please allow him to follow him to wherever he was going. Yemoli was reluctant at first, but after seeing the near tears in Ashake's eyes, he finally decided to do something for the guy and called that his Lagos friend to ask if one more person could join them in the guy's house. And contrary to what Yemoli feared would happen, maybe the guy would be like, you want to carry another person to my house? I told you that is coming to squat. What is this kind of thing? The guy was actually chill with it and said both of them should be coming. Now after the phone call, he didn't even tell Asake what has happened, that the guy has given him green light to come to the house. He gave the impression that the guy didn't actually agree, and I told Asake to go back to Lagos Island and stay small. Later on, he will try to arrange something for them and they will link up later, because he knew that if Asake heard that his friend gave him the green light, when he comes to the house, he most likely wouldn't want to leave again. So after they were done talking, Yemoli removed 5,000 naira out of the 500k he was having in his hand, gave it to Asake for Asake to use and arrange himself for some time while he stays in Lagos Island. Yes, 5k. You think say life easy? So yeah, Asake agreed and left. Now I know that from the story you just heard, Yemoli is looking like the bad guy. Why did you do this? Why you couldn't have just allowed? Yes, I understand. But given the circumstances, he really couldn't have helped it. Mind you that it was still the same Yemoli that went all out to make sure that Asake had a fruitful music career later on. But don't worry, we are getting there, so keep watching. A few weeks went by and Yemoli finally told Asake to come over, and the rest was history. The gang was finally back together. Immediately Asake landed in the house, he started making music ASAP. In the years that followed, he dropped songs like Shodamo and Good Life that were produced by Antras. Mr. Money no dey waste time. Now if you listen to his earlier songs, you will know that it cannot be compared to the songs we hear of him today, but it was evident that he had talent. All he needed now was just a helper. In the meantime, one of his uni friends, Fireboy, joined him and Yemoli in the house, and because him too was a musician, he also started his own music career and started dropping songs. And like play, by 2018, Olamide heard one of Fireboy's songs, liked him, and signed him to the YBNL record label ASAP, instantly making Fireboy a superstar. Now mind you that this is the second person amongst the 5 group of Ashake's friends that has been signed by the YBNL record label. First it was Chinko back in their 200 level in uni, and now it was Fireboy in 2018. And all this was happening right in front of Ashake's face. No be like saying that here say this one happened for your own face. At this point, Destiny just seemed to have been teasing him, but Asake did not stutter. He remained focused. Now with the connection Asake had with Olamide via his 2 friends Olamide just signed, Asake got Olamide's direct contacts and started texting him, basically begging him him on text to please help him too in his own musical career, just like he had helped his two friends. Asake was so serious and emotional in this text that he will be using all caps to be texting Olamide, just to make sure Olamide knew he was serious. But upon all of Asake's genuine efforts, Olamide opted to ignore him completely. And I mean, you cannot blame the man. Olamide probably gets tons of messages asking for help every day, just like Asake's own. And the reality of this world is that you cannot help everybody. So Asake chopped the shades and relentlessly kept releasing songs in the years that followed, while he occasionally, texted Olamide too. Both his songs he was releasing and the texts he was sending still weren't yielding any results for some time. But it wasn't till 2020 when he released a hit single titled Lady that he would begin to gain some small recognition. The song was such a hit that it gained the recognition of popular influencers like Brother Shaggy, Nasty Black, and Sydney Tucker. This helped him get into the mouths and ears of some well-known people in the entertainment industry. And later on in the same year, he dropped another hit single titled Mr. Money. This one scattered everywhere. The whole Instagram was talking about it. In fact, it was so popular that he was able to lobby Zlatan and Peruzzi into a remix of the song. Imagine how rare it is for a small artist to feature two prominent musicians on one of their songs. Like, it was truly like a major breakthrough for Asake. These two hit singles was able to bag him 3 nominations in the City People's Choice Awards, one of which he was nominated for the best song of 2020. But of all these feats, the one that would stand out the most was when he was featured on a song titled Gegeti that was co-produced by Young John and DJ Exclusive. Now, why was this collaboration so important, you might ask? Well, it's because Asake's newfound friend from the song, which is Young John, who featured him on Gegeti, saw the talent the guy had and now recommended him to Olamide ASAP. This was the first time Olamide was hearing of Asake in any regards at all. Does that mean all those texts he was sending previously were all useless? Yes, but here's the thing. Even when Olamide heard of Asake from Young John, he didn't think much of it. Yeah, sure, Asake was talented, but Olamide still wasn't convinced that he had that special fire that he looks for when he recruits artists for the YBNL record label. That's something, that flair, the Asake of 2020 didn't just have it yet. But nevertheless, 2020 was still like a great breakthrough year for Asake. He was finally building up some serious momentum in his musical career, but he wasn't there yet. All these minor achievements are good and all, but for an artist to have a long-lasting career, they have to have a consistent pattern of releasing songs. People have to get familiar with hearing their music at least once a month, and the artist has to have a platform to connect with their fans regularly, not just one hit wonders. Asake lacked these feats because he was just basically dropping songs here and there without any pattern or any formation. Just anytime when he see money, he would just drop song, and to be honest, that's highly unsustainable if you ever want to grow a stable career in the music industry. To solve this issue, Asake needed a steady stream of resources so that he can make consistent music for his fans, have money for promotion, in order to build a solid musical brand that can last. Time was of the essence for Asake, and not many doors were opening for him again. Now, fast forward a year later to 2021, and Asake was still stacking tons of bangers in his archives, bangers that were crying for an opportunity to be given a chance. One of the projects he worked on during this period was a song titled Omokpe, which directly translates to Golden Boy or a favored child in the Yoruba language. And Asake made this song while he was very emotional. It was more like a tribute to God for how far he has come and where he's planning to still go. This was at the breaking point where he thought his music career was never gonna pick up again. Never did he know that the song was gonna be the highlight of his then music career. Now let me explain what I mean. You see, coincidentally, around the same period, Asake's closest friend Yemoli started dabbling into making music of his own. From the period between 2021 and 2022, he dropped a total of 5 songs, and these 5 songs kind of went viral. And amongst these 5 songs was a song titled All the Girls, where he featured 2 artists named YKB and Dandizi. Now, a few months after releasing this song, the song was able to gain the attention of YBNL CEO Olamide. That was later in 2022. Olamide loved the song so much that he randomly reposted it on his page one day like that and followed Yemoli's Instagram page too. And just like that That's how Yemoli and Olamide became friends. This is the third person now from the friend group that has directly gotten in the good graces of Olamide. That's except for Asake. But now get this. On one fateful morning like that, around 4 a.m., Olamide DM'd Yemoli on Instagram asking him to send the Instagram page of Dandizi, one of the guys he featured on his song All the Girls, that he really likes the guy's verse on the songs and him personally wants to help Dandizi's career and give him a verse or a feature in one of Dandizi's songs to help bolster the guy's career. As soon as Yemoli heard this, he carried Dandizi's page and sent it immediately to Olamide. Now Yemoli realized that this particular scenario he was in was very peculiar. It doesn't happen often, and they were chatting and responding to each other's DMs instantly. This opportunity might not present itself to him again. So Yemoli capitalized on the opportunity and started advertising Asake to Olamide. He told Olamide that he had a talented artist who was his friend that just needed help to shine. Olamide asked him if it was Asake. Yemoli was like, yes. Olamide now said that he has already heard about Asake from Young John, that the guy is good. Then Yemoli wasn't like, Asake is not just good though, that the guy is bad, like he's very good, that the guy's songs that he has been hearing from his archives, like if Olamide should hear those songs, all he needed was just a chance, that he should help him in any way he deems fit, that even if it's just a verse, just like he wants to give Dandizi's verse, that he should give Ashake's verse to help bolster the guy's career too. So as they were still going back and forth, Yemoli didn't even wait for Olamide to land. He went to his files in his laptop, got some hot bangers from Ashake's archives and sent it to Olamide's email immediately. And I informed Olamide like, sir, I've sent some hot bangers to your email, that he should just listen to it in his own time and come to a conclusion in his own privacy. So Olamide agreed and they both ended the conversation. So after the conversation, Yemoli wasn't too optimistic about the whole thing. It was just random and Olamide might really not even read it, or his head was just scattered at the point. But all of a sudden, his phone rang. That was a DM from Instagram and he opened it. Olamide sent him a DM and the DM read, Ashake's verse will be ready today. That's the same day that they just discussed this thing, just later in the morning. Yemoli almost ran mad. The same day, he asked. Olamide said yes, so that there was one particular song that he heard that really touched him and he realized that indeed Asake was super talented. And guess what that song was? Just guess. Guess? Omokwe. And just like that, later on that day, Olamide recorded his own verse and sent it to Yemoli's DM. Now as all these things were going on, Asake wasn't even aware. In fact, he was even in an argument and altercation with his fellow housemates, including Yemoli. An altercation that even made him to leave the house out of like anger. So later on, when hunger finally wired Asake and he decided to come back to the house after vexing, Yemoli just broke the news to him, Yakata, that Olamide don't drop verse on top your song. Asake was like, are you whining me? Like, which kind of talk is this one? Abi, you just want to use this one and say sorry for what you guys did? Yemoli was like, I did serious. So the guy did not believe. Till Yemoli now sat the guy down and now played Olamide's verse in his Omokwe song. And no more, as Asake had it, the guy immediately ran mad. Immediately after this, that same week, Olamide told them to begin promotion of that song ASAP, that he will sponsor it. Yemoli and Asake was like, us self no get the ginger for this thing what they do. Now you self get this ginger like this. So we they stop their own blessing. They began to promote the song with the help of Olamide, just like he instructed. And on that same week again, Olamide now put Asake on call and called him to his house to have a private discussion with him. So Asake also obeyed and went to Olamide's house. He thought maybe they would talk about how to promote the song more and how to maybe give one or two advice about the music industry and all that. But as Asake entered the house and sat down, Olamide just sat down with him and just casually told him, would you like to join the YBNL family as one of our artists? Just like that. So easy. Something that he has been beckoning and crying and struggling for the past how many years now. Olamide just handed him on a silver platter, just like that. Previously, when he was texting Olamide, he wasn't even expecting a signing. All he wanted was just maybe a collab to help, bolster his career. But here's Olamide offering him all his dreams and more. Mr. Money no dey waste time. Asake quickly responded with a resounding yes, I go join you now. Olamide was like, you sure? The guy was like, I sure die. Olamide was like, you too excited, calm down, go back home, get lawyer, then tomorrow come back and when your head don't clear, so that you know what you're getting yourself into. Asake was like, I don't need any lawyer. Even if say this contract you're going to be cheating me in the kind record label, be cheating me, sign me first. His head was not even there. All he knows is that he wanted to be signed to Olamide Bado. YBNL family. Gang, that is the only thing that was in his head. So when Olamide saw the guy's vigor, he just finally agreed before the guy beat him. And on that very day, the deal was done. So began the official rise of Asake. In his following months, with the help of Olamide and the record label, he will release his first body of work, his first EP. The name of the EP was Olamide Asake. The EP had 4 songs, including Omokwe, Sumba, Kabaye, and Baba God. All these 4 songs were so unique and exceptional that the Afrobeat community immediately, and I mean immediately, accepted the guy. Sharp. He would then go on to solidify his spot amongst the prominent Afrobeat artists when he released his first album titled Mr. Money with the Vibe. This album featured bangers like Joha, Organize, and Bandana, where he featured Fireboy, his long-term university friend. Asake really took the Afrobeat community by surprise in 2022, quickly rising through the ranks and making a name for himself. That's why it's no surprise that his latest album, Work of Art, that he released in 2023, is pulling in massive numbers. Asake is a force to be reckoned with. He has proven that maintaining a consistent style of originality and sheer confidence in one's music delivery with an unbreakable hustle spirit will always be rewarded with recognition and fame. There are so many interesting lessons I've picked up from researching into Asake's rise. Now it's your turn. What did you learn from his story? Leave them in the comments below. I'd like to hear them. And if you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate it if you subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.